Welcome to Yeshiva Daf Shir Sponsor Nishma Sam Shalom Le'apas Yitzchok. We're holding Bo Basra Daf Kuf Ayin. We're starting Daf Kuf Samech Tesam with base in the bottom. The Gemara says, Tomer Rabban, Habali doin b'shtar u v'chazaka. Someone who's coming to use a shtar and chazaka. So nidim b'shtar divrei Rebbe. Rebbe says use a shtar. Shimon li leimer b'chazaka. So the Gemara now is going to bring a few ways how to understand this brisa. What is this machlekes? To use a shtar or chazaka. What is it talking about? So the Gemara says like this. What's the machlekes? Option number one, way number one to explain this brisa is based on what we just ended the previous daf. What's when one hands a shtar to somebody else, does that do the kinyan? Does that take with it the field? If you hold oisios nikras b'mesira, so then just by handing the shtar to somebody else and he takes the shtar, he's cleaning the field. And if you hold that, it's not enough to do a shtar. You have to do more than that. You have to do an actual chazakah. So you know that's a machlekes. So as I want to explain the Kufayna Mudalf. You're not able to do a purchase with oisirs, but just giving the shtar. So that's why he says you have to do a chazakah. Rabbi holds you do use oisirs from so that's machlekes. Says the Gemara Abaye Ken plukto ledemar. So says Abaye says Abaye to Rav Dimi. According to this is arguing with what we said before, the way we ended the previous daf. How did we end the previous daf? So the Rav Asi said Rabbo. Rav Asi tried to give the first answer. Rabbi says the oisios nikras b'mesira is a machlekes, and Mishum Gamliel, our Mishnah holds oisios nikras b'mesira. So, and you're just saying now Mishum Gamliel says the exact opposite. So what you're explaining will be different than the Rabba. Mar means Rabba, who is the Rebbe of Abaye. When he raised Abaye, as we know. So he says, he says yes. No, I argue with Rabba, that's how I want to explain it. So I'll explain to you what I mean in my question. The only way to explain our Mishnah is like Rabbi explained it. Because of that, what are the Shulman really going to say? That if someone who gives a matana lechaveiroi and he gives him the shtar, that's the Lashon of the Mishnah. So mataso kemes. What does he say? So Rabbi explained oisios nikras b'mesira. So that's the pshat of our Mishnah. So the problem is how you explain our Mishnah. You can't catch the Shulman Gamliel at the Shulman Gamliel to steer him Shulman Gamliel. Because you're saying here, if Shulman Gamliel holds, you don't use the shtar to be a chazak. And our Mishnah says that oisios nikras b'mesira. Elo Amar Abaye, so Abaye comes with another explanation. Talking about the one of the Eidim is found to be Korov Upasul. One of the Eidim that's signing the shtar. Or Plukta the Ramei Rab Blazer. We're coming for the Machlekes Ramei Rab Blazer that we learned in length and multiple times in Maseches Gittin. Rabbi Sovel Rab Blazer Dom Eidim Mesir Karti. Rabbi holds like Rab Blazer the Eidim Mesir Karti, meaning the main Eidim are the ones that are witnessing the shtar being given from one to another. So you may lay, I don't care that on this shtar there's a signature of Eid Pasul, because they're not the ones who are doing the kinyan. The one who's doing the kinyan is Eid Mesira. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel saw like Rabbi Meir Dom Eid Chasim Akarti. Shimon Gamliel holds Eid Chasim Akarti. So you may lay, I need to have, the ones who sign are the ones that make the kinyan, the ones that sign the shtar. This shtar has a Eid Pasul, so you have to do a chazakah. That's the machlekes over here. Rabbi says you can use the shtar because the shtar is good enough, and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says you have to use you have to use chazakah because this was not going to work. So what do you mean? But Rabbi Lazar learned the Mezum Teicha. We learned in Maseches Gittin that Lazar agrees that if the shtar is written wrongly, it's possible. Meaning what? Rabbi Lazar holds you don't have to have Eidi Chasima. You don't have to have Eidim that are signing the shtar at all. But if I do have Eidi Chasima, they have to be good. I can't have an Eidus on the shtar, which is a Mezuyah V'Teicha. It's forged in it. Meaning there's something wrong in the shtar. And I have the Eidi Chasima, which are possible. It's considered to be something wrong in the shtar. Omar Rabbi Avino. Rabbi Avino is Ravino. Rabbi Avino is Ravino. Hakol Moedim Shil Kosoboy Huskaknu LeEdusam Shel Eidim Himtzo Edusam Mezuyafes Shil Pasul K'Dar Biabo. Everybody agrees if I have an aid in the shtar, which is a pasul aid, it ruins the shtar, even according to Rabbi Lazar, it's called Mezum Teichor, forged within it. Talk about a shtar that has no edim at all. Not that they have eight puzzle. To Rabbi Sova, look at Abelazar lo edim Mesiri Karti. Rabbi holds like Abelazar edim Mesiri Karti. I don't care that there's no edim. I need the edim on the shtar, and therefore I can't use the shtar over here. I have to use the chazaka. Another explanation of this machlokes between Rabbi Yeshua and Gamliel. They're arguing regarding moed v'shtar shekosoi, meaning one who's moed, he agrees that he wrote the shtar. He says, "Yeah, I wrote the shtar." You still need to have a kiyum. Meaning, we learned it earlier in this Masechta. Don't we say that once you have the shtar is so strong that once I know the shtar was written, there's no hapesh shas or peshet here. The owner, the one who wrote the shtar, can't say, "Yeah, I wrote the shtar, but there is a problem over here in the shtar." Because once you say that the shtar was written, so the shtar is the power, the koyach shtar that you can deny. Or we say no. When a person that admits that he wrote the shtar, you're relying on him. It doesn't have the power of the shtar without him, so you can come and deny it. So here we're talking about a case that the person agrees that he wrote it, but there is some problem with the shtar, as we see. Right? Rabbi Sovar, moed v'shtar shekosoi, ein tzorich l'kayim. Moed v'shtar shekosoi, I don't have to be mekayim anymore. So once I have a shtar, I'm going to use the shtar. I don't have to do any more to mekayim it. I don't have to, because I'm not relying anymore on the owner, on the one who admitted that the shtar is good. Should Gamliel Sovar tzorich l'kayim? You still have to be mekayim. So only relying is on the owner. If only relying on the owner, the one who admit, so that he has the ability to uproot the shtar, and therefore I can't rely on the shtar. I have to rely on the chazaka. What is as Rishbam explained over here, that the Rishbam says, look at the right side of the page. I wrote it, says the Me'ar, but I never gave it to you. So he's denying the shtar. Does he have the ability to do that if he's the one who's saying the shtar is good? So the Gemara, so according to that, what is it? Rabbi holds with the shtar shekosoi ain't tzorich l'kayim, meaning the power of the shtar is so strong. Once you know there's a shtar, you can't deny it. And Rishon Gamliel holds that. We saw the opposite. Tanyo, shtar yadukim b'shtar milve, shtar yadukim b'shtar. Two people holding on to the shtar. Milve oimer, mal oimer, the lender says shaliu v'nafol yimeni. It's fine. It fell in the right pocket. You found it. You picked it up. Leiva says yes. It is the shtar is a shtar that you wrote. The Bava says it's a good shtar. I just lost it. Leiva says no. I admit it's a good shtar, but I paid you back. So in other words, it's moed b'shtar shekos. He's moed that the shtar is a good shtar, but he says he paid it. So does he have peshasa? Rabbi says you should. If you bring 80, the shtar is a good shtar, then it's fine. Meaning that what? That if he not ignoring the 80, you're just relying on this person, he can say I don't have to pay. Shmuel says, no, I know the shtar is a good shtar, I just don't know who's holding on to it. So I'm looking at the shtar is a Gevaldik shtar. And you can't say the only reason I'm relying on the shtar is because of the Levi, because the shtar is the power of the shtar. So what are you looking at? The fact who's holding on to the shtar? Baal and Levi, they're both holding on to it. So therefore, if you say Achlik, you split it in the middle. Says the Gemara, the boss, we asked, when you have when you have a clothing that fell on the street, and you have two people holding on to it, what's in his mind, what's in his mind, what's I found it, what's I found it. Each one is there to do a shvua that he doesn't have less than half. You do chalukah. So what's the chalukah over here? We'll just explain what we just spoke about. If it's with kuyo, and now we know the shtar is a good shtar on its own. The shaila is who is holding on to the shtar right now. The Bava is holding on to half. The leg is holding on to half. You split it. We're talking about a case that there's no kuyo. So I don't even know if the shtar is a good shtar. Rabbi saw the shtar because of tzorich l'kairos. Even though the loiva says that, even though the loiva admits that he wrote it, but he says I don't know it. He has a peshah, a peshah there. So I need still a Q. So he can't use the shtar. If he does a Q, you'll get half. If not, just a piece of clay. I mean, the document is a void document. Which does not have to be kaim. and they will go and they will split it. So what do you see over here? So you see that you wanted to say that Bryce we just mentioned here, this stuff is the Machlekes is the Rebbe holds eight Tzach L'Kaibo. And Shimon Gamliel said Tzach L'Kaibo. We just have another Bryce that says this is exact opposite. It says the Gemara Epoch. Turn it around. Turn it around. What? We're gonna say the Rebbe and Shimon Gamliel do a goal L'Shitas. So we have to turn it around. We're turning around the second one. So usually the Gemara means, even though I'm not so clear about it, if the Epoch refers to the second or the first one. Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara. We're talking about here the guy in Levar. What does it mean Levar? Says the Rashbam. Adam shetoyel be'arer. Rashbam is on the left side of the page. Adam shetoyel be'arer shnei bini chazokas yeshli. The person says, I have two ways to solidify my ownership. Number one is I have a shtar. But I also have 3 years. So I have two things. I have a shtar, I have 3 years. You have to come and verify your words. You say you have it, I need to verify what you say. Okay? He says, you don't have no shtar. You say you do have a shtar, bring the shtar. And listen to this lashon of the Rashbam. If you want to say I have a shtar, I would have to request a shtar. As we learned at the beginning of Cheskes Habatim, that shlosh shani mizdar yish b'shtori, tfei loy mizdar. You don't have to hold on the shtar more than 3 years. But now that you came and said I have a shtar, I have to check what you said. Says the word now. So he led money to Rabbi Abba. Also, it comes. It says, I paid you back. And the Eidim, this is a Reuven Shimon, the Eidim. Well, okay, so we bring this Eidim. If I don't bring Reuven and Shimon, so I'm not going to be an Amma. We know if a person pays, even though he had Eidim, the time of the loan, he doesn't have to give it back with Eidim. You can do without Eidim. So he said, I give it back to you. So even though I don't have Eidim up there, says the Gemara, I hold you like Rav. Rav said, if you employ your someone said, I pay you back with Reuven Shimon, so you have to have the Eidim come. In other words, he rooted for himself. If you would say I give without Eidim, it would be never. But now that you said you have Eidim, that's what you're relying on. Show me that you say the truth, and this will be an indication if you're lying or not. We learned of Shimon Gamliel that in our case, in this price, so you do only chazok even though you said I have a shtar. It says the Gemara. It says the Gemara. Ve'af Rebbe loy. We have find it with base loy levar. So even Rebbe did not say only levar. Meaning, what is that? So look at the Rashbam, the last Rashbam of the Hova. He says, "Kloy b'dadin haloch of Shimon Gamliel. Shaf Rebbe lo nichlok elam mishud desvirle." Only Rebbe, he's arguing, he's only because the tzorch levar is more machish ta'am yesh t'shtar. He says they have to check. You said, let me check. For every moed shim loy taught, if you never said it originally, loy tzech lechazok levata. You agree that you don't have to do anything. Kema de loy adu pluktainu k'de levainer. Let's check what he says. So it makes sense to hold of Shimon Gamliel. So Rebbe argues. Rebbe doesn't argue because he doesn't agree with the concept. He says, now that you said I have to go check it out, he says it makes sense not to hold like Rebbe. So he says, I'm just saying to Levar, that's what I want to do. What does it mean? Says the Rashbam, he says, I agree with Rebbe. Meaning, you said it makes sense of Shimon Gamliel, I hold like Rebbe. Even though the Losh of the Gemara doesn't Basra this way. So So Rashbam brings the name of Rashi. According to this, the Gemara is a little doichek in the Lashon. He says to him, Shikam said differently. Even Rebbe doesn't make sense to say like Rebbe. He says, I will look Rebbe. Even though the word did not say the word, it just said, just say the var. Okay. So that's the Rashbam. The Tosfos says no. You know, in Al-Mafsid, if you look at the first line, the Tosfos, the Kuf right with base, the Tosfos says, Pirush B'Nutam, Levar B'Tis Advorim, Ulabid L'Ayabis, V'Yutzu, V'Yorbu L'Oreinu B'Oilom, B'Chayav. If you do find the Eidim, Reuben and Shimon, he tell Reuben should come here. Did you testify? Were you witnesses of this load? They say no, it never happened. Then you see clearly the guy is lying. Then he can't find it. We want to try and check it out. He can't find. Then you're not going to lose. Doesn't make sense. He's going to have to pay if you can't find them. So this is the big yisoid, big machlekes over here. And this, the Tosfos, it works well better with the Lashon HaGemara. Or says, I can just rely on Chazon. And even Rebbe holds all the vars. Let's just check out that he's not blatantly lying. But if I can't check it out, it'll be fine. He says also, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just check it out. Now, if you checked out how they was lying, that it cannot be with puzzle. But if you checked it out and you couldn't find anything, you couldn't find anything, you couldn't verify it, you're still going to rely on the star, and that even Rebbe agrees. So that's what he says, Levar. Okay. Says the Mishnah. Let's start the next Mishnah. Someone paid off some of his loan. This says, okay, so right now, we'll switch off the loan. Meaning, was Yachlif? Rashi, the Rambam says, Yikra oisar shtar, here the original shtar. V'yiklo shtar achir, a new shtar. Why? Lefi cheshba nishar mizbar rishu k'nefash word. In other words, you have to go right a new shtar. And but the Rambam says, mizbar rishu for the first date, we'll see in a moment. You write a receipt. Oh, this is the big issue. He's going to have to guard his shtar from the mice. Yes, you have to hold on to the receipt. I don't want to go and make the lender write a new shtar. Right? Why is that so? So as the Rambam adds, it brings, because, as I was going to say, I want to make sure that the borrower pays. So the borrower is afraid. He knows the lender has a shtar that says he owes $100,000. Even though he paid $30,000, he was only up to the receipt, or maybe the receipt will get lost. He just encouraged you to pay quickly. So it says, give him a receipt, and if he's worried to lose the receipt, he should. That's his problem. So the word no paskin like neither in our Mishnah. Ela bezdi mikar b'shtar the korban shtar acher is bar rishon. Meaning, according to Rashbam, this is here a discussion in Tosfos, that we're not talking about the Mishnah else that the Eidim will just write a new shtar. He says you cannot the Eidim. The base will write the new shtar. If he would hear, if Rav would hear the following brayso that said, "Tani Eidim b'karim shtar the korban shtar acher mizbar rishon." The Eidim were the ones who do it. Have the other base. Then he would change his mind. Now, as the Tosfos discusses, maybe they were understood that Eidim can't write for the first time. So he said only basically write for the first time, and otherwise you have to write a new date to the shtar, which he's going to lose from it. So they weren't no, the Eidim couldn't write for his Bar Rishon, that's what you see with the Brayso. Obviously, Shmieli did hear the Brayso, the loy other bay. He's not changing it. Because he holds base, have to do now like the Brayso. And explains what Avkuf right now, Avkuf. Bishop Dino and Liba Avkuf Avoido. Basically, they have the power to take away the money. And Eidim Shosu Shlichuso, Choizu, Voizu Shlichuso. Eidim already did what they did. So they finished to do the shtar. Can you write another shtar? So says the Gemara of Eloi. Eidim could write several stars on one Sunday. And here, as the Tosfos goes on to say, that even though we found in the Gemara and Gittin that once a person finishes, he can't write again, that's when the Eidus ended. Here, the Eidus is still continuous. I have to prove that this load is still going on. Says the Gemara, answer is, talking about Eidim cannot write it again. Hi, when it says Heidi right again and again, it's only b'shtar v'torah. Look at Rosh Hashanah. It's all I know. You ain't koyach b'yodu she'edi l'chzor v'chtor shtar l'gvois v'l'kuchus. You can't take it out again. Chikoma of Yudah barav and you b'shtar v'torah she'ei b'achayis. There's no achayis, so you grab another shtar. Rather, kol yoidu she'asal l'sadeh labo lichtavu lo shtar v'torah. There's b'yodu le'edus and tikvar b'yodu. If the shtar is only a deed valve, it doesn't really give you any power, so you can do it. But to write another shtar that will take you l'kuchus, once the Heidi did one, they can't do another. So shtar v'torah you can do it. Rabbi holds shtar she'ei b'achayis. And Rabbi holds, we'll talk about shtar that has no achayis. But if there is achayis, they can't write another shtar. So that's the word what to say. The Eidim can't write another shtar. That's a discussion over here. Can the Eidim come in once one shtar is over, write another shtar? Do they have the power or not? Okay, we'll touch upon the Nekudas here more later in the next daf, but we'll stop over here at this moment. Kol Tov.